Welcome. You are here, listening, gently settling into a calm rhythm. And together, we will journey back to the very first moments described in the ancient scriptures, the book of Genesis. Close your eyes if you wish, and imagine yourself drifting back, far beyond memory, to the beginning of beginnings. In the stillness, there was nothing. No shape, no color, no sound. And then, according to the scriptures, the voice of God moved across the formless void. The words are simple. Let there be light. And light appeared. You can picture it softly glowing, breaking apart the endless darkness. There was no rush, only a quiet unfolding. The light and the darkness were separated, and the first day began. Now imagine the sky being formed, a vast expanse stretching like a soft dome above. The waters below were divided from the waters above. And then, gently, dry land appeared, mountains rising, rivers flowing, and plains stretching into the horizon. And on that land, green life sprouted, plants, herbs, fruit trees of every kind. Quietly, gently, they began to grow, covering the once barren earth with a soft blanket of life. You can picture the calm waters being filled with movement, fish gliding through rivers and seas, shimmering like silver, birds rising into the sky, their wings stretching wide in the fresh air. And on the land, creatures of every shape and size began to walk, from the smallest insect to the tallest animal, each moving with quiet purpose. And then, as the scriptures tell us, humanity was formed. Let us make man in our image, it is written. And so, the first human, Adam, was shaped from the dust of the ground. Life was breathed into him, and he became a living soul. Soon after, a companion was made, Eve, the first woman. Together, they walked in the newly formed world, surrounded by life and light. In the center of their dwelling was a place of beauty, a garden unlike any other, the Garden of Eden. You may picture it now, rivers flowing gently through the land, trees heavy with fruit, the air filled with calm fragrance. Everywhere there was harmony, animals unafraid, the ground abundant, and peace resting on every leaf and stone. Adam and Eve walked there, clothed in innocence, their hearts untroubled. It was a place of simplicity and of nearness to the divine, a garden that reflected not only beauty, but also a deep stillness. In that stillness, there was no hunger, no fear, no conflict, only presence, only peace. And as you think of this scene, perhaps you imagine yourself there too, walking quietly by the river, listening to the soft rustle of leaves, feeling the calmness of creation around you. Everything perfectly balanced, everything at rest. This is the first picture the scriptures give us, the creation of the world and the planting of the garden, a gentle beginning, a foundation for all that will follow. And now, let the scene linger in your mind, for soon we will move forward to the next chapter. But for now, stay a little longer in the garden, peaceful, unbroken, and filled with light.
You are still in the Garden of Eden. The air is calm, the rivers flow gently, the trees stand full of fruit. It is a place of harmony. But now, a quiet tension enters the story. The scriptures describe a new figure, the serpent, subtle and patient, who begins to speak with Eve. The voice is soft, questioning. Has God truly said that you must not eat from every tree of the garden? Eve replies with innocence, explaining that they may eat of all trees except one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For if they eat of it, they shall surely die. But the serpent whispers again, promising more. You shall not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Imagine the stillness of that moment. The fruit hanging before them, beautiful to the eye, rich to the taste. A decision forming quietly in Eve's heart. She takes the fruit, she eats, and she gives also to Adam, and he too eats. Suddenly, everything changes. Their eyes are opened and they see what was hidden. Innocence is replaced with awareness. They realize their nakedness, and for the first time, they feel shame. Quickly, they sew fig leaves together to cover themselves. The garden, once pure, now feels heavy with the new silence. Then comes the sound of footsteps in the garden, the voice of God walking in the cool of the day. Adam and Eve hide among the trees, trembling, and God calls softly, "Where are you?" Adam answers, his voice unsteady, "I heard you, and I was afraid, because I was naked." The truth is revealed. The obedience is spoken aloud. And so the peace of Eden begins to fade. The serpent is cursed, destined to crawl upon the ground. Eve is told of sorrow and childbirth, and Adam of labor and toil in the fields. The harmony is broken, replaced by struggle and sweat. And then comes the final act. Adam and Eve are clothed, not in leaves, but in garments of skin. And they are led to the gate of the garden. Cherubim and a flaming sword guard the entrance, so that they may never return to Eden. Imagine them walking away, slowly, hand in hand. Behind them, the garden glows with unreachable beauty. Before them, the unknown world stretches wide, a world of labor, of hardship, but also of hope. It is a gentle sorrow, the beginning of humanity's journey outside of paradise, a story of loss, but also of life continuing. As you picture this, let your breathing slow. See Adam and Eve fading into the distance, while the garden remains behind like a dream now closed. And so the story moves onward, from innocence to a world of choices, challenges, and paths yet to be walked.
Imagine yourself moving further along in the story of Genesis. The garden has long faded into memory. Humanity has spread across the earth. But the scriptures tell us that corruption and violence filled the land. Men and women forgot the harmony of Eden. They turned to pride, to cruelty, and to greed. The divine gaze looked upon the world, and sorrow was felt. It is written that the Lord said, "I will blot out man whom I have created from the face of the earth, for the earth is filled with violence." Yet among the multitude, one man was different. His name was Noah. He walked with God, quietly, faithfully, in a world of unrest. Picture him now, a man of simple appearance, wearing a plain linen tunic, his feet bare upon the soil. He listens to the voice that calls him, instructing him to build something never seen before, an ark, a great vessel of wood, long and wide, with many levels. It is not a ship for the sea as they knew it, but a floating refuge for what is to come. Day by day, Noah works. Imagine the sound of axes cutting wood, the scent of freshly hewn timber. His sons help, carrying beams, shaping planks, sealing the joints with pitch. Around them, neighbors look on with puzzled smiles, even laughter. The sky's clear, the fields are green. Why build such a thing? But Noah continues, quietly, steadily, trusting in what he has been told. And then the animals begin to arrive, 2 by 2, as the scriptures say. Gentle deer, heavy oxen, lions with golden manes, tiny sparrows, slow turtles. Each finds its place in the ark. The scene is calm, almost dreamlike, as if guided by an unseen hand. Noah and his family enter the vessel. The great doors close, and then the first drops of rain begin to fall. A gentle drizzle at first, soft against the earth. But the drizzle becomes a storm. The heavens open, the fountains of the deep break forth, and the waters rise. Imagine the sound of rushing rain, the roar of rivers overflowing. Villages vanish, hills disappear, until even the tallest mountains are swallowed by the flood. And yet the ark floats steadily, carried upon the endless waters. Inside, the animals rest in their pens, the family speaks softly, and Noah waits with patience. 40 days and nights the rain continues, and then silence. The waters begin to recede, little by little. The ark comes to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. Noah waits longer still, sending forth a raven and then a dove. The dove returns with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Hope, renewal, a sign of peace returning to the earth. At last, the door of the ark opens. Noah, his family, and the animals step onto dry ground once more. The air is fresh, the world washed clean, and Noah builds an altar, offering thanks for deliverance. The scriptures say that God then made a covenant, a promise never again to destroy the earth with a flood. And the sign of that covenant appeared in the sky, a rainbow arching gently from horizon to horizon, a reminder of mercy and of new beginnings. As you picture this, let your breathing slow, the sound of rain fading, replaced by quiet winds, the image of the ark resting safely on high ground, and a rainbow shining softly in the distance. A story of judgment, yes, but also of preservation, hope, and life renewed.
The flood has passed. The world is fresh once more. Generations of Noah's sons spread across the valleys, the plains, and the hills. They built new homes, new villages, and then cities. At first, there is peace, for all people speak the same language. Their words are simple, and their meanings shared. Communication flows easily, and with it, unity. Imagine yourself walking among them. The sun rising over the wide plain of Shinar. Men and women gathering clay from the riverbanks, molding bricks with their hands and drying them in the hot sun. Children play in the dust, while carts pass slowly carrying heavy loads of stone. The air is filled with the sounds of work, hammers striking, voices calling, songs rising. And then comes the plan. Let us build a city, they say. Let us make a tower with its top reaching to heaven, so that we may make a name for ourselves, and so that we may not be scattered upon the earth. You can almost see the foundations laid, massive, square, and strong. Layer by layer, the tower begins to rise. The bricks are set with tar, black and shining in the sun. Step upon step, the structure climbs higher. At first, it is small, but as time passes, the tower stretches tall above the fields, a proud monument of human ambition. The people marvel at their own work. From every corner of the city, their eyes are drawn upward. And yet, the scriptures tell us that this rising tower is not pleasing. The purpose is not harmony,
but pride. It is not gratitude, but defiance. And so, in the story, the Lord descends to see the city and the tower. The decision is quiet but firm. The people are one, and they all have one language, and now nothing will be withheld from them. Let us go down and confound their speech, so that they may not understand one another. Imagine the moment it happens. A mason asks for water, but his neighbor hears only strange sounds. A carpenter calls for wood, and the reply comes in unfamiliar words. Confusion spreads like a wave. Voices rise in frustration. Tools are dropped, and the work slows, then halts. No longer united, the people separate. Families gather, each with their own tongue, looking outward across the plain. Some move north, some south, some east, some west. The once great project is abandoned. The tower stands unfinished, reaching high yet incomplete, a symbol of confusion, a monument to scattered pride. The place is called Babel, for there the language of the people was divided, and from that place they were spread across the earth. You may imagine yourself now standing at the foot of that half-built tower. The sun sets behind it, shadows long upon the ground. The voices have faded, only the silent structure remains, a reminder of how quickly unity may turn to division, and how even the strongest work can fall into stillness. Take a deep breath, and let the scene slowly dissolve in your mind. The tower remains in the distance, while the people drift far away, each carrying their own words, their own paths, into the vastness of the earth.
Generations have passed since the scattering at Babel. Across the wide plains of Mesopotamia, new cities have risen, among them, a place of tall walls, busy markets, and temples reaching toward the sky. The people worship many gods, offering sacrifices of grain and animals upon carved altars. But in this world of many voices, one man listens for a different call. His name is Abram. You may picture him now, a man with dark hair and a long beard, clothed in a simple wool robe, a woven belt at his waist. He walks quietly through the narrow streets of passing by merchants selling dates, wool, and copper, while the sound of flutes drifts from a nearby temple. But his thoughts are elsewhere, for a voice has come to him, quiet, firm, unlike any other. Leave your country, your family, and your father's house, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you, and your name shall be great. Imagine the weight of such words, the call to leave everything familiar, the home of his ancestors, the comfort of the city, the security of the life he has always known. And yet, Abram believes. He prepares to depart, taking his wife, Sarai, his nephew, Lot, their servants, and their flocks. Picture the caravan setting out, donkeys loaded with sacks of grain, clay jars of water balanced on carts, servants leading sheep and goats along dusty paths. The desert wind carries the smell of dry earth and smoke from distant hearths. Step by step, they move westward, leaving behind. Nights are spent beneath the stars, the fire crackling softly while Abram gazes upward at the endless heavens. At last, they reach the land of Canaan. Rolling hills, fertile valleys, and groves of olive trees greet them. It is not a city of stone like but a land of promise, open and waiting.
Abram builds an altar there, offering thanks, and the promise echoes once more in his heart. Time passes, and the promise grows deeper. One night, the scriptures tell us, Abram stands beneath the sky. The stars shine like countless sparks, and the voice comes again. Look toward heaven and number the stars, if you are able. So shall your descendants be. Abram looks upward, his heart filled with wonder. Though he and Sarai are old, though children have not yet come, he believes the promise will be fulfilled. And so a covenant is made. Animals are brought, divided, laid upon the ground. Abram waits in the stillness, the air heavy with smoke. And then, as darkness falls, a deep sleep comes upon him. A smoking firepot and a blazing torch pass between the pieces, a sign of divine presence sealing the promise. The covenant is simple yet profound. Abram's descendants shall inherit the land. They shall become a people set apart, and though hardships will come, the bond will endure through generations. Abram's name will become Abraham. Sarah's name will become Sarah, and their story will shape the unfolding of history. As you imagine this scene, perhaps you see yourself sitting beside the quiet fire, the stars shining above, and the voice of promise echoing in the silence. It is a story of leaving behind, of trust, of journeying into the unknown, and of believing in something greater than what the eye can see.
Generations pass, and the descendants of Abraham grow. Isaac has sons, and Jacob, later called Israel, becomes the father of 12. Among them is Joseph, a young man who will one day shape the fate of nations. Imagine him as a boy, walking through the fields of Canaan. The sun rests gently upon the hills, the flocks graze quietly, and Joseph carries himself with a sense of innocence, clothed in the famous coat of many colors, a gift from his father Jacob. It is a garment of beauty, woven threads of red, blue, gold, and green, and it sets him apart from his brothers. But his brothers do not look upon him kindly. They see jealousy, favoritism, and pride. And when Joseph begins to share his dreams, their resentment grows deeper. He dreams of sheaves of wheat, where his brother's sheaves bow down to his own. He dreams of the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing before him. To Joseph, the dreams are mysteries. To his brothers, they are unbearable. One day, Jacob sends Joseph to check on his brothers in the fields. As he approaches, they see him from afar. The coat glimmers in the sunlight, and anger fills their hearts. "Here comes the dreamer," they whisper. They seize him, casting him into a pit. Their plan is cruel, yet one among them suggests another way, to sell him to passing traders. Picture the caravan of Ishmaelites moving slowly along the dusty road, camels laden with spices, balm, and myrrh. Joseph is pulled from the pit and handed over for silver. The brothers watch as he is led away, their hands empty, their hearts heavy with silence. Joseph arrives in Egypt, a land of towering temples, wide rivers, and bustling markets. Here, he is sold into the house of Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Joseph works faithfully, his hands tending the household, his spirit steady even in a foreign land. But soon jealousy and accusation follow him once more, and he is cast into prison. Even there his gift remains. He listens to the dreams of others, the cupbearer, the baker, and interprets them with quiet wisdom. In time, Pharaoh himself is troubled by dreams of cows and stalks of grain, dreams none can explain. Joseph is called. He listens, he reflects, and he speaks. There will be 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh, astonished, lifts Joseph from the prison. He places upon him fine linen garments, a golden chain around his neck, and sets him as ruler over all Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. The years pass just as Joseph foretold. The land flourishes, and then hunger spreads. From distant Canaan, his brothers come seeking food. They bow before the Egyptian ruler, not knowing that it is Joseph. Imagine the moment. Joseph, once cast away, now standing in power, his brothers kneeling before him just as his dreams had shown. At first, Joseph hides his identity, testing their hearts, seeing if repentance has softened them. But at last, he cannot hold back. He weeps, his voice trembling. "I am Joseph, your brother." The reunion is filled with tears, with forgiveness, with relief. He calls for his father Jacob to come to Egypt, and so the family is restored. What was meant for harm, Joseph says, was turned to good, to preserve life in a time of famine. Picture the family together once more. Jacob old and weary, Joseph strong and at peace, the brothers humbled, and the land of Egypt providing shelter. It is a story of betrayal and forgiveness, of dreams fulfilled, and of divine guidance woven quietly through every hardship. Let the image rest in your mind. A coat of many colors, a pit in the desert, a prison in Egypt, and at last a family reunited. A journey of sorrow and yet of redemption.
Imagine yourself standing on the hot sands of Egypt, a land of great rivers, tall temples, and bustling markets. For generations, the Israelites have lived here, their lives woven with labor and long days under the sun. Moses is among them now, a man of quiet determination, dressed in a simple linen tunic, a staff in hand. He has grown among Pharaoh's palace, yet his heart is with his people. The divine voice has called him from the quiet of the burning bush, a flame that burns yet does not consume. "Go," the voice whispers, "lead my people out of Egypt." Picture Moses returning to his people, his face calm but resolute, telling them of freedom and promise. At first they hesitate, but hope begins to bloom in their hearts. The journey begins. The Israelites gather their flocks and belongings, women and children, the elderly, carrying what little they can. They move quietly through the desert, the sun warm upon their shoulders, the wind carrying the scent of sand and distant hills. Pharaoh's heart resists, and the story tells of plagues that fall upon Egypt, water turning to blood, frogs leaping, locusts swarming, and darkness covering the land. Yet Moses remains patient, guided by faith and the gentle assurance of the divine. At last, Pharaoh lets them go, and so the Israelites march toward freedom, toward the wide, open desert that promises new beginnings. But the journey is not easy. They reach the Red Sea, a vast expanse of water stretching before them. Behind them, Pharaoh's chariots thunder across the sands. And yet, with quiet faith, Moses raises his staff, and the waters part. Imagine the awe of walking on dry land, water walls rising on either side, glimmering in the sunlight. The people cross slowly, carefully,
children clutching parents' hands, elders leaning on staffs. And when the last step is taken, the waters return, covering the path behind them. The Israelites breathe freely, their hearts lifted by relief and wonder. Through the desert they move as one, fed by manna that falls gently from the heavens, and water flowing from rock as the divine guides each step. Picture the quiet nights beneath the stars, fires flickering softly, families resting together. The vast desert stretches endlessly, but hope remains, steady and calm. This is the story of Exodus, of leaving the old, embracing the unknown, and trusting in guidance unseen. As you rest your mind upon it, feel the rhythm of the journey, the quiet steps of people walking toward freedom, toward a future promised and yet unseen.
Now, take a deep breath and let your mind drift gently across the tapestry of time we have just traveled. From the quiet creation of the world, when light first separated from darkness, to the serene gardens of Eden, where Adam and Eve walked among animals and flowing rivers. From the great flood that washed the earth clean, to the ambitious tower that reached toward the heavens, and the scattering of voices across distant lands. From Abraham's quiet journey of faith into the unknown, to Joseph's dreams fulfilled in a foreign land, and the patient guidance of Moses leading his people through the desert. All these stories have passed like soft rivers of memory, carrying lessons not just of trials or miracles, but of human hearts, their hopes, their fears, their resilience. Picture yourself now, standing softly above the quiet plains of history. The world is vast, yet gentle. The rivers still flow, the winds whisper, the stars above continue to shine. And though centuries have passed, the essence of these stories remains, a reminder of connection, of guidance, and of quiet wonder. Allow the images to fade slowly. The garden, the ark, the tower, the caravan, the Egyptian palace, the desert paths, each dissolving into calm light, leaving a peaceful stillness in your mind. And as you rest here, consider this gentle question. What might your own story become in the quiet moments of the world if you move with patience, faith, and a touch of wonder? Let your breath slow. Let your body sink comfortably into the present moment and drift, knowing that the story of humanity, in all its beginnings and journeys, continues quietly around you, softly, gently. Good night.